Live from Brands Hatch, welcome race fans, one and all, back to Green Flag TV, where this afternoon we're set to close out the 11th season of competition here on Wednesday nights. Welcome to the Beer League and welcome back to the UK. My name is Rempel, alongside Acinni. We bring you all over racing action from start to finish of this fantastic Wednesday afternoon. Fen, the last time we were here at Brands Hatch was with the late model stocks for a preseason race almost 5 full seasons ago. Today, we are set to rumble out once again, one final time in racing action here in season 11.
That we are, back out with stock cars on a road course, at least here in the US, and other places they use on road courses all the time. But fancy back-to-back, I suppose, in the US circuits on a UK track, so not even applicable there. Fantastic way to close out the season. Should be some interesting championship battles to round out our season with these Legend 34 coupes and see what they got in store next season.
Well, of course, take a look at the championship order entrant racing action this afternoon. Henry Morse maintains his spot on top of the points boards, 21 clear of Alexander Bueller, and right now it is looking pretty solid for Morse. All he's realistically got to do is close out the top 5 in both the sprint race and the main event, and then he should be more than good to go for racing action here to close out a championship this afternoon. Meanwhile, Alexander Bueller and Giovanni Romano situated second and third, with Austin Tucker having been dropped out of the podium. He is not here this afternoon, as well as he is on vacation right now. So Austin Tucker will watch this finale from the sidelines, and looking like Alex Crawford not able to contend for this championship this time around either.
Yeah, we had talked with him earlier on in the season for Alex Crawford, and I'm not super surprised, but as we move on over to team championship stuff, still battle points to play for the top 2, but it's going to be very tight as we get into the final round here if the Formula Legends dethrone Legendary.
Very much a tight battle indeed, and this one likely one that could shift around before the end of racing action here this afternoon, as the rest of the field is getting set to work their way up and around this afternoon. And what a fantastic night of racing it is going to be. Of course, this track, one that is steeped in motorsports history, right? Used to play host to one of the many Formula One races across Europe, and what a time to be alive that this track is still running strong here this afternoon as an incredible historical site. Right now, we still have under 4 kegs of beer consumed, and that does not look to change throughout the course of this afternoon as well. Let's ride aboard for Alex Crawford here, shall we, Fen? He can take us for a good solid lap around this absolutely fantastic circuit this afternoon.
That you can, as we're coming down Brabham Straight, start-finish straight, to begin the lap here, going off this lovely on-camber to off-camber paddock hill bend, turn number 1, a super great dive down, very reminiscent of the course we saw a couple weekends ago at Laguna Seca. And as we get into Druids, which is this lovely name for this hairpin, one of these tracks has all these names for all these corners. Fantastic stuff. It shoots out of there through Graham Hill. Graham Hill has a bend at the end of it that we're going through now, onto the Cooper Straight and into the Surtees for the second half.
He'll work his way up and around. Last time we were only utilizing no, we were not. Sorry, we were utilizing the full layout here. So you are correct. Firing back up onto out through Surtees and up towards Pilgrim's Drop. Now, a series of right-hand corners, some sweepers, some kicks. We'll start with a big sweeper of Hawthorne Bend to the ever-short Derek Minter Straight. As Crawford again working that wheel, a little bit of power sliding going on mid-corner. He'll set himself up nicely here for Westfield Bend as he'll try to chuck the car in there, kick the tail end out through Dingledale and up towards Sheens. Sheens, the site of many collisions. The driver's getting a little bit too aggressive. You absolutely cannot underestimate this field. It could be a track that could be your undoing, much less Sterling's, as you fire up to Clearways and towards Clark Curve to close out the lap.
And with that, see where he puts himself on the timing boards, a bunch of numbers rolling in. Henry Morris taking that initial groupings provisional pole to 140.224. We'll see where Alexander Crawford steps up onto that podium.
So Alex Crawford puts himself up on top of the points boards here this afternoon, while everyone else is cycling on through and working to try and get themselves up and sorted as well. There is Henry Morse, the driver that currently sits on provisional pole, and he will miss out on best in his lap here in this one and had to back off on that lap. What about Darren Bai? Deeper down the field, he tries to see if he's got an answer.
Yeah, a pretty decent looking lap out of Darren Bai. He is coming out of clearways onto Clark Curve, and to wrap up the lap, he has not set one so far. I think he's kept it within track limits this time by in order to do so. We'll see where he comes over the line as he comes down Brabham Straight. Or he's a little bit further in the field. For some reason I thought he was at the end of the lap.
Yeah, not quite there. He's through right. Sterling's now. Oh boy, flirting with the grass on the outside line. There is Aaron Thacker going to shoot up to that 11th place spot, 1.3 seconds off the pace of Henry Morris. Darren Bai, meanwhile, chucks it into clearways and works down the Brabham Straight to put down what could be his first time lap of the session.
I believe so. I think while he touched the grass, he didn't touch it enough to invalidate his lap time.
Well, he may have invalidated earlier on because that lap did not stand.
Well, another go for him.
Of course, Scott Fleming, another driver that might have an opportunity here this afternoon as he tries to get one up and rolling here. So the field going to be doing everything it can to try and work progress up and around here this afternoon as Fleming, like many, not able to put down a time this afternoon.
Now, if I'm remembering correctly, there are a couple spots on Brands Hatch, especially in kind of some of the other parts of the layout, where it has very stringent track limits rules. And that might be catching some of the players out when I think about it a little bit further. And these drivers are getting away through the lap.
Henry Morris going to reset the fastest lap of the session, 1:39.6. And that will put him now 0.73 up ahead of Henry Lieberman, who right now is remaining in pit road as he's not come out to make another lap here this afternoon. Aaron Thacker trying to see if he's got an answer. He is quick this time around, coming to the start-finish line. He's going to improve by about just shy of 0.4 of a second. That's good enough to put him into the top 10.
That it does. I also like to point out Henry Lieberman, Alex Crawford, settling about 1,000th between those two drivers as they are when they're on the podium. Ryan Murphy setting a pretty solid initial lap time. We'll see if he's able to better it with this second go around.
Seeing what's what here as the pack will look to fight its way back up and around towards that front straightaway once more. It's a tall order if Murphy wants to get the job done, but one that he should be able to do without too much effort, you would hope. And, well, not able to get the job done that time by 5 seconds off the mark, so likely on a warm-up lap for him. What about Alex King? Does King have a response? Currently situated in 7th. This lap looking good. 140.5. Good enough to improve by half a second, and that puts him into 4th.
Looked like he got the draft coming out of the final couple corners there, which really helped him, I think, increase that speed. John Combs coming over the line to improve up to 11th with a 141.46 this time by.
What about Chris Flams? Not quite going to miss out on that one. Just a little bit got caught up in a bit of lap traffic, it looked like. How about Corey Barrett, though? Right behind Barrett, going to jump up several spots and up into 16th.
Fantastic lap from him.
Oh, hello. Oh, boy. All right. Well, we're going to have a few cars going off there.
Yep. Chris Flams, Corey Barrett, all checking up to not make contact with Evan Campbell.
Alexander Bueller on the hunt, just outside of the 1 second bracket of Henry Morse. As Bueller going to go to a 140.7. Not good enough to realistically improve.
Flipping through some of the times here to try to figure out what the gap is and where the almost 0.7 of a second, almost a second lap comes into play here between Henry Morris and Henry Lieberman. I think it's just a very lucky bit of drafting and a bit of luck and a lot of very good understanding of where that slip angle still applies the power to keep him going forward, especially in that second half of the lap where we saw a lot of cars losing it at the tail a little bit and really refining how that car handles with the zero amount of downforce that the Legends 34 Coupe is able to give them.
And there you see John Combs, as Combs trying to see if he's got an answer from behind. He currently sits in the number 9 spot as well. Not seeing too many drivers on laps that'd be too big of an improvement. The biggest one I think would be Ryan Murphy right now, who appears to be about up by a 10th on his best lap so far.
It looks like
we'll see indeed right now. Murphy still doing everything he needs to do to try and put that car up onto a good position so far, running the 1 minute 20. And with about 20 seconds to go, if he wants to get a good improvement here on this lap. Coming across the line. Does Murphy improve? No, he's going to miss out by a few tenths.
I'm curious if that slip angle caught him out. Scott Fleming comes across the line as well to improve by 2 tenths, jumping him up to 16th where he was in the 20s.
John Combs looking to be on the flyer here this time by, and he is not going to improve as much as I thought it will, but improve nonetheless. He improves on the time, not on the position. Still needs about a 10th and a half if he wants to extract more out of that race car. Meanwhile, Evan Campbell working his way around. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do much, though. Situated back here in 15th.
Unfortunately, I don't think there's anything much more he can do unless he really lucks out with the draft now. Unfortunately, I think he had either an incident somewhere or it was just another warm-up lap.
Oh, hello. Oh, boy.
Tyler Carlton.
This is a driver we haven't talked about much so far throughout the first few races of his beer league career. Andy Vasic, right now running 23rd as he works his way through the back portions of the lap. Trying to see potentially he's got an answer.
I think this lap looks to be faster than his previous times. See where that puts him on the board. We saw Thacker improving on his times, and Campbell as well. Excuse me, Brooks Clayton.
Vasic into clear ways as he'll fight his way back around to the pit straight. And any improvements? Not quite. He's going to miss out.
Yeah, I think that slip angle catching these cars out and these kind of some of the more less than ideal corners. Henry Lieberman looking to set a faster time. Curious if he's capable of doing it. Looks like it's a flyer.
Not quite. Not quite. He tried, though. He was really on him, though. He wasn't far off, so he's got some more speed to extract from that car, as I believe so does Alex Cofford. Both Cofford and Bueller look to be on some pretty storming lap times. Bueller just a little ways ahead of Cofford, working his way up towards the start-finish line this time by.
Both of them looking to come over the line to see if they can improve and at least close that gap, if not dethrone Henry Morris on the top of the times.
Close to Bueller, no cigar. What about Alex Cofford? Can he get there? Oh, no, just misses out by 0.04 of a second.
Yeah, I'm super curious if Henry Morris was able to extract that time with a little bit of help from the draft and a couple of the straights. Not as many and not as long straights, so definitely a shorter pathway for these cars. And the draft game that we've seen a lot of this year is really going to be kind of, I think, one of the side, at least not as big of a impact on these cars driving as we've seen in some of the other race courses. I believe that's Tyler Carlton hopping off the track. Henry Morris sliding on by.
Track conditions are only heating up right now as we are, of course, in the hottest point of the day. So I feel like most of the times that we've gotten are probably the fastest times you're going to be seeing out of most of the field so far. I don't see any reason for that to be changing anytime soon, unfortunately. So I think you'll feel more or less set as it's at, but that's not going to stop people from really trying. And as I say that, Alexander Klein jumping to second, but he is still a long ways off Morse.
That he is. This battle for second is now heating up between all of these cars as we now have 3 involved within 0.05 of a second. Alex King looking to set a faster time. I think he had a bit of an off there earlier as the car almost comes into Henry Morse's way as he comes flying back around.
Morse still on the first half of the lap, of course, just approaching that crossover point for the Indy circuit. Justin Hall just jumped up to the number 15 spot on the racetrack, so the legendary number 64 able to make tracks. Meanwhile, Jason Lee hopping off the road and following suit.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much those track limits stringencies are going to play into effect in some of the areas. I don't think it's as bad, like I said earlier, so I don't think it should be a huge issue. But as long as people are keeping it well within the limits otherwise.
Well, people are going to do whatever they have to do in order to get some more moves working for them. Try as they may, it could be a difficult task. But still a task that could prove vital in determining the end of racing action here this afternoon.
Very, very probable. We're getting set to probably start our last runs of flying laps here within the next minute. Kyle Blevins improving up to 20th from where he was earlier on the board with 142.05. A pretty tight margin still between most of the drivers in the top 10 as well as the follow-on top 20. So plenty of room for positions to swap back and forth. Eric Ronenberg sitting 140.73 and taking the spot away from Lee for 7th, which we're following along with right now. So we'll see if he has an answer here as he comes up the Brabham Straight.
And is it enough to improve? Yeah, not quite. Thought for a moment he might have had it. Misses out again by just the slimmest of margins. What I will say, these lap times we're seeing are very consistent out of people at least.
Mm-hmm. It definitely shows, I think the draft is very marginal here versus some of our other tracks where there's nice long straights that have this ability to really capitalize on a draft and gain a good solid few tenths to a second in lap pace based on that draft alone.
So the field going to continue to work their way around. We are now on the final minutes here of the session. Those drivers will not get another chance after this one to set down a lap. So if they got anything, now's the time to utilize. But I think Henry Morse is going to look very happy with that provisional pole position for the time being.
I'm sure he is, especially given the amount of breathing room he seems to have to the other individuals on the podium as well as the top 5. Plenty of room there, especially as he goes off track. And the final corner is there to dive into pit lane.
Just a few seconds remain as this race going to get set to close on out for the final qualifying session of the season. Remember, Henry Morse sitting 21 points clear. Effectively what he needs right now would be a solid finish inside the top 5 for both the sprint and the main event, and you should be able to lock it up with no troubles.
That's fantastic. I would love to see and I think that's the biggest battle we have, I think, in the championship standings at the moment, followed loosely by the battle between Giovanni Romano and Austin Tucker. But all Giovanni Romano has to do is finish this race, and he will be further ahead and without issue because Austin Tucker is not here, like we mentioned before.
So qualifying going to draw to a close, and with that, we are ready to take a rundown of what that starting grid is going to look like here this afternoon. Your sprint race, the final one of the season, looks a little something like this. Race number 9 is brought to you, of course, once again as Henry Morse starts on pole with Alexander Klein down to the number 2 spot. Row number 3 going to be headed up by Henry Lieberman and Alex Cofford. Row 3 then with Alexander Bueller and Alex King. Row 4 with Eric Ronneberg and Chris Bright. Top 10 headed off by Jason Lee and John Combs, and sitting on the transfer spots will be Aaron Thacker and Chris Flams. From there, moving back to the field, it is going to be Ron Wolf, Tyler Carlton, Justin Hall, Darren Bai, Evan Campbell, Brooks Clayton, Ryan Murphy, Kyle Blevins, Scott Fleming, Corey Barrett, Mac Verstupen, Ryan Verhulst, Greg Beckman, Andy Vasic, Sebastian Close, Adam Joseph Milhot, Ben Williams, Tyler Viennan, Carson Catlin, Blake Gambrell, Chris Silver, Giovanni Romano, Tyler Augustino, and Gabriel Gonzalez will close out what will be a 36-car sprint race. Might be down to 35, though, as Gonzalez did not put down a qualifying lap.
Yeah, we'll have to see most of the cars coming to the grid. But we have a few still waiting to get there.
I feel very much situated, and anticipation lurks over the field.
We got 2 more starts left, 1 more heat, 1 more feature, and then that'll be the wrap of a season.
Not many leagues can boast of making it to season 11.
I think I know of 2. This one and one other that I know of that is on their 11th season for both of them.
It's always an impressive feat. Shows we've got a loyal, dedicated driver base, and one that these drivers make the most out of. Final sprint race of season number 11 is in the air. Green flag is up this afternoon, and we take off towards turn number 1.
Yeah, a fantastic start from Henry Morris, Alex Plank, all of the top 5 getting a great launch. Alexander Bueller getting a great inside run on Alex Coffer to take away 4th position, try to minimize that points gap that he needs to close out the championship to Henry Morris here in the heat race. Eric Ronneberg also capitalizing on that. Alex Coffer dropping positions here at the start.
Several drivers going to be dropping spots as a result, but hey, this field still clean, still green. No one has gone fully around just yet, knock on wood, as this field will now work their way up and around and back towards the long straight here at Brands Hatch, the longest one of the racetrack.
The longest one and the best opportunity for the draft, as these 3 cars here between Alex King, Jason Lee, Chris Bright all try to defend for positions here.
Up through Hawthorne Bend. Everything's still looking clean and green. Henry Morse taking off at the head of this field, but Clank and Lieberman not letting him get away. They're going to go side by side. Coming up the hill and towards Shanes. Lieberman makes the pass. Just barely. Clank cannot fight him around. And you got Alexander Bueller trying to make a lunge in there as well.
Yeah, remember Bueller's fighting for that top step on the championship podium tonight. And he is basically hoping that there's going to be a big enough gap between him and Henry Morris at the end of it for him to come out with enough points to dethrone Henry Morris. He's got to maximize his time up to him here at the heat as well as the feature to give it the best opportunity.
Oh, hold on. We got big troubles over here down at Clark Curve. Corey Barron may have just gone for a roll. You saw the car settle onto all 4s. He may have gone up and over. Meanwhile, Morris continuing to lead the way up through Druids. This is what happened to Barrett and Co. back in the field.
3, 4, 5 wide almost, and then back from Stupin tips Corey Barrett here, and then they go sliding together into the wall, and it's not quite a tip, or a full rollover, but it is a tip.
Kind of got tipped on his side. Otherwise, looking clean, looking green. Everyone else fanning out as we work down the back straightaway. Here's the Flams and Ron Wolf all in a big scramble here as, wow, the field behind. Oh, my goodness. Getting all sorts of checked up in the background. Up in a Hawthorne. Top 5 remain as they ran at the top of lap number 1. And now you see Ron Wolf getting a little bit argy-bargy in the mix of all of the battles back here as we're double file.
Ron Wolf trying to get around these group of individuals to take the fight further up the field, getting passed by Chris Flams and Chris Bright earlier.
So the pack continuing to slice and dice as we fight this fight all the way up and over the rise. See all that gravel dragged onto the racetrack from the exit of Clark Corner. Or for the exit of Clearway, sorry. And fastest lap of the race this time by, going the way of Henry Lieberman as the field continues to work their way down the pit straight and towards turn 2.
You see Alex Kling having a look there going into Druids. I'm curious whether or not he wants the pass done to then take the fight to Henry Morse, or if he's trying to figure out what the reaction is going to be there if he has a look up the inside to go for a long push.
Morse, Lieberman, Klenk, Bueller, all under a blanket. About a second separating the top 4 so far. Further behind, not a lot of moves being made within the top 12, except for back here. You've got some more attacks being made down towards the inside line of turn 5, and I tell you what, I mean, this field is having a go at it here early on this afternoon. Look at it through Hawthorne Bend. Around the outside goes Greg Beckman, trying to pick off Tyler Augustino. That is all the way back from 25th that these guys are fighting this hard for.
They're fighting hard, I think, pretty much up and down the grid. Darren Bai also fending off Evan Campbell, as well as a couple other drivers, including Scott Fleming, and other parts of the circuit. So everybody's racing for the last bit of points they can for the season, and I think nobody is leaving room on the table for next week, because there isn't one.
The pack remains tightly packed together. Lieberman thought he might try to have a look to the inside. That time by, he opts against it. And you're right on board this time around. And, Tyler Carlton. Trouble back here in the sand trap as he has gone around.
Yeah, a self-spin. He slowly got himself going the right direction here. We'll take a look at it. As he does so.
That was way earlier in the race. Here it is.
Tyler Carlton here just gets a little loose on that curbing. Almost has the flip. But much like Corey Barrett earlier in the same gravel pit, the tire barriers keep it from going all the way over.
So the pack going to continue to fight their way up over the rise, and so far Henry Morse doing everything he's got to do to keep this field up and working strong at the head of the field. Several kind of small packs where we got the top 4. You've got 5th back to 8th, and then 9th all the way back to 13th here. And in this battle for 13th, it will be that fight for the final transfer spot, as in fact Ron Wolf going to put Ron Wolf trying to put Chris Flams on the bump spot. It's just not working out for him so far. They're side by side for second into turn 1.
Ron Wolf, I think, being very patient there, had the run from the end of the corners through up to the start-finish straight, and then had to back out to not lose control of that. Jason Lee gets pushed off the road by Chris Flams, it looked like.
You see Jason Lee getting back onto the track at the bottom of Paddock Hill Bend. Making our way up towards Druids and around that tight 180-degree hairpin. Boy, watching all these tiny little cars fly through here is something, isn't it? I mean, it's something that you never really want to keep your eyes off of that turn 1 for too long, because how many times have we seen cars go for rollovers in there? Oh, hello, off the road, going to go Vietnam back to the field. But how many times have we seen cars go for some pretty wild tumbles coming down through there, right? Even these little Legends cars.
Yeah, well, these little Legend cars, because they're going down that hill, there is zero downforce to keep that car planted to the ground, and the traction gets real loose. Like we saw with Jason Lee, and there was great car control from him to keep him from sliding and causing that into be a bigger wreck than it was. Just kind of rode it out and waited for the car to finally settle for him to start applying more steering to get the car to do what he wanted it to do, because otherwise it was just going to start sliding around as it had no real grip on the road underneath it, as it was, nothing pushing it down.
So Morse, Lieberman, Bueller, Klenk remain at the top 4. And so far, still no moves being made. Henry Morse has led every single lap of the sprint. That is looking to change no time soon. This is on board at the tail end of Henry Morse. See, Lieberman not too eager to go for that lunge on the inside, and I do wonder why Lieberman is biding his time. Maybe he just doesn't want to put himself in a bad situation here early on. Oh, hello. Well, off the road, going to go the fight for number 2.
An unfortunate catch there. Henry Lieberman letting up to not run into Henry Morse, and then as Vander Bueller just found himself on the outside, and as Henry Lieberman just drifts into him. And Wolf also finding an off there.
And a couple of cars having an off there at turn number 1, right in the midst of all of that. Oh, hello! And around gonna go Kyle Blevins at the 248. He's gonna be dumped out of the top 12 and hit by Ryan Murphy, but able to get it sorted.
An unfortunate series of accidents we've had here, kind of at the halfway point of the race for the heat. A little bit more, I should say, as we get about into the last 5 minutes. We'll get the cars back going the right way to finish out the fight for the heat races and who gets into the transfer spots. Alexander Klenk and Henry Morse are now at the top.
Oh, now off the road, gonna go Ron Wolf from even deeper in the field, just getting shoved off again. Well, the top 2 now headed up by Morse and Klenk, who are just not a whole lot of reason for them to really fight each other yet. I think that's gonna go down to the final lap of the race. Further behind, how about Giovanni Romano? Romano making a defensive move on Jason Lee into turn 1, and Lee's gonna lift early to let him have it.
Yeah, I think Lee is just kind of maybe a little bit apprehensive turn 1 after Chris Flams and the amount of overspeed he had that he really wanted going into that. Giovanni Romano sliding up the inside on Chris Flams to keep working his way up the field, up 24 positions. Giovanni Romano going for the over-under here.
Tries he may, though, still not able to successfully get the nose in there. Meanwhile, Thacker and Moore all going at it. Oh, hello. No, more trouble. Andy Vasek around to the top of the hill at Druids. He's going to be sent tumbling down towards the rear of the field. So yet more problems with that 000 who just cannot catch a good day to save his life. There's trouble up the road, and he just got nicked in the last second as a result. Holy cow, look at Carson Catlin just slip through the middle of that.
Yeah, great driving from Carson Catlin to not get wrapped up in that fight. In those spins, I should say.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Just great heads up, really working the wheel to make sure that that car kept going the right direction, didn't end up adding to the crashing that was happening in Druids there.
So Thacker, Williams, Flams, Clayton, and Moore. All of them under a blanket now, up the road. Oh boy, Chris Bright getting a little bit aggressive there with Chris Flams. As Flams does his best to try and hang on. Meanwhile, the move's finally made for the lead. Klenk's through on Morse.
Finally done.
And it happened like this. Just got a great run through 1 and made the lunge into 2.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from Alex Klenk, just really knowing when to stick the nose in. And then Henry Morse, obviously wanting to keep his championship run alive, is just going to let that car sail through and keep his spot there for the transfer spots and make sure he has a good run on the feature.
Further behind, Ronenberg, Bueller. Side by side up through Hawthorne Bend. Look at Bueller going around the long way through Hawthorne. That is such a difficult move to pull off, and it's not done yet because he's got to fight the same through Westfield and then up through Sheens.
Yeah, I think he's going to be losing more spots than he's trying to gain here if he stays on that outside line.
Oh, boy.
King trying to not get caught up in that. Alex Crawford going around Alex King as a result. Eric Ronenberg really playing a defensive fight here against Alexander Bueller for these final few moments in the heat race.
Final lap is very much underway. Clank so far maintains the top 5. Exactly what he needs to do. Meanwhile, oh my goodness, a huge send as King gonna almost take out Crawford there. And all of this while Morse getting a bit more feisty with that 013 up the road. He wants to go. Alex Crawford getting a black flag for himself is going to cut across the racetrack as a result. Meanwhile, the top 2. Where does the move happen? Does Morse dare to try and send her into Hawthorne Bend here? Fighting his way up and around as the 013 tries to make something happen, trying to hang on for the lead.
Henry Morse trying to capitalize on those points, waiting for that right moment to pull onto the inside and give that late lunge, return that late lunge of a favor that Alex Clank gave him, as there's a shake there for one of these final couple corners. Henry Morse has the run here. He's opting to try to find the inside line here.
Trying to go the long way around, goes for the over-under into clear ways, looking for the drag race down the front straightaway into the grass, this time by contact between the two, sliding out to the stripe, and he's going to clinch it by the thinnest of margins at the stripe. Holy cow, what a ride.
Yeah, really pushing there for Henry Morse to get that top spot on the podium, as the usual post-race festivities have begun in turn number 1.
Take one more look at this and just how close this comes down into the grass for Henry Morse, and then comes to the line. I don't think it's going to be that white line. I think it's the red one just up the road. It is, but holy cow. I mean, look at how tight that finish is.
That finish, very tight. Henry Morse not wanting to lift out of it and willing to dive into the grass to make it happen.
Could barely tell.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all of that will take us to the conclusion of racing action here this afternoon, as we'll look to get a rundown on who the top runners are at the end of this one. So, the drivers, that'll be inverted. Henry Morse with the win by 0.02 of a second ahead of Alexander Clank, sorry. Bueller picks up third with Alex King back and forth. Ronenberg in fifth. Lieberman at sixth. Combs, Romano, Flams, and Bright will close out the top 10 with Jason Lee closing out the field. We'll be back with more in a moment on Green Flight TV.
Racing isn't easy. Racing isn't easy. But experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. We are just moments away from getting set for racing action for the final race of the season. 1 hour of action is left in. Well, with what we saw right there, I have a feeling here, Fen, like if we do see any big incidents early on, there's not going to be a lot that's going to be able to keep this field from just being completely outran by the pack.
Yeah, I think there is going to be a lot of pockets of racing, likely similar to what we saw in the heat, up until we get one of those Code 69s to bunch it all back together here in a moment. But we'll have to see how it all plays out. I think any big accidents, like you say, will cause this pack to just become lots of smaller ones, all spread out across Brands Hatch Circuit.
Well, we'll see how things are going to pan on out in just a little while. For the time being, it's time to get a rundown of what the starting grid is going to look like for the final race here of the season. So with all of this said and done, your starting grid for, again, this last race looks a little something like this. You, of course, have got Darren Bai up on pole. What better way at their implement than for the man himself to be on pole? He starts alongside Jason Lee. From there, Chris Bright starts third alongside Chris Flams. You got, of course, Giovanni Romano and John Combs. Moving back from there, you have got Henry Lieberman and Eric Ronenberg, Alex King, and and Alexander Bueller will be starting their races 9th and 10th. And then the drivers that finished 1-2 by 0.02 of a second is Alexander Klenk and Henry Morris. From there, moving back to the field, it's Evan Campbell, Ben Williams, Aaron Thacker, Scott Fleming, Tyler Augustino, Brooks Clayton, Justin Hall, Ron Wolf, Greg Beckman, Ryan Murphy, Tyler Carlton, Carson Catlin, Ryan Verhulst, Kyle Blevins, Matt Verstupen, Adam Joseph Bilhott, Andy Vasic, Corey Barrett, Tyler Vietnan, Chris Zofer, Sebastian Close, Blake Gambrell, and of course Gabriel Gonzalez and Alex Coffert will be at the tail of the field.
Yeah, a fantastic race. Everybody who started was able to get at least a decent run for most of the field, with the exception, I believe, of Alexander Coffert, who ended 3 laps down. So good racing there. Everybody kind of staying on the lead lap, and everybody taking the checker flag as we get gridded up here to go racing for the feature.
What do you think? Does Henry Morris hang on, retaining that title? He's got to fight his way to the top 5 to do so, but he has proven before he's no slouch when it comes to getting up there quickly in the main.
I get the feeling he will likely do that between what we saw in the heat, what we saw in the qualifying times, the overall pace he's had from practice on. I think it's a very good thing. I would put my money on it that it would be a thing that happens relatively early, and then he uses that and kind of paces himself with fuel to make the finish a very easy thing for him to accomplish once he's up there.
Top 5 is what he needs if he wants to be 100% secure. And for the final time, Barney the Flagman will drop the green flag. It's go, go, go from Brands Hatch. A great getaway for Darren Bai as he takes off with turn 1, but look at Jason Lee storming around the outside as we rocket back down to the round in the turn number 1 for the first time tonight. Oh, hold on, off the track, hard into the wall and upside down for Ron Wolf.
So everybody in that top 12 were doing fine. Ron Wolf, unfortunately, into that wall hard and having to drop down to the back of the pack as well. So he just got loose trying to not hit Scott Fleming, and he made it successfully back on the track.
A pretty big whack into the wall for Ron Wolf that time by. And we'll take a look at that in a moment. For now, we got the whole pack looking to slice and dice up the field. Jason Lee has gotten a pretty big jump on this pack here. Henry Morris, where is Morris? He's already up to 8th in just half a lap.
Yeah, and like we were talking about, I don't think it's going to be a problem for him, especially if he is going to push as hard as he is. Eric Ronenberg, the next person he needs to get around. Alex King right behind him, and Alex King splitting Henry Morris and Alex Klenk, the two from the thousandths difference finish in the heat. Super curious where these two end up in the future.
So racing action remains tight this afternoon as you are going to take a look back. This is on board with Ron Wolf entering turn number 1 on the opening lap here as Jason will lead the first lap to green. As you say, got a little bit loose on the way in, straight on into the corner, into the wall. Car digs in, and he goes for a tumble.
Yeah, it's like we said, or like I've said a little bit earlier, it's definitely an area where the car gets really loose. And you really want to minimize your inputs to not let the car start just sliding on you as it goes through that roller coaster that is the paddock bend.
I mean, look at all the sparks with the cars that just bottom out through that corner, right? I mean, it compressed that suspension so much. You really have got to be absolutely on it and around. We got cars off the road. That is Evan Campbell, who's just been taken out by Aaron Thacker.
Yeah, I think just Aaron Thacker missing where that car was going to be for him and then braking sooner than he anticipated. And then he ended up in that left rear corner to cause that car to go for a spin.
So the field still packed up. Henry Morse right behind the battle between Alexander Klenk and Eric Ronenberg. Morse dropped back to 10th, so he is on the backslide. Needs to do more if he wants to secure a championship here this afternoon. Meanwhile, Henry Lieberman up front, making the lunge on Darren By to get around him for second.
A great set of running here. Alex King, Alex Klenk, Henry Morse, Eric Ronenberg, all trading positions here as they all fight for spots. Alex King on a tear trying to get his way up the field and pushing that car really hard to do it. 2 by 2 comes most of the field there. And Combs running out wide as a result.
Runs out wide, but he does keep it pointed in the right direction. Oh, a big block there as Chris Bright gets the door slammed shut in his face by Darren By. Flams are the fastest lap of the race so far. Oh, and around gonna go John Combs. He spins off the road. Ronenberg spins around as well. A big hit coming down the hill as Justin Hall comes piling in.
Ben Williams also collected in that unfortunate incident. I think just got a little loose trying to check up and bumping into Alex Klenk.
Boy, that was a hit that the 017 took there as he went spinning off the road. Meanwhile, now the rest of the pack still in some pretty big lockstep here. Everyone in sync with one another, except for Matt Verstappen, who goes out wide in the middle of Surtees and nearly spins her around.
Blake Gambrell and Adam Joseph Mailhot, I think, got into a little bit of collision here. They coming through Surtees.
Meanwhile, Flams, Bright, and Morse all continuing to scrap it out as what a fight these drivers are having here this afternoon. Just non-stop action from start to finish. And an aggressive dogfight that the pack continues to have with one another.
We're just coming up on the 5-minute mark. We have 65 whole minutes of this. I'm sorry, 55 whole minutes of this left.
It's a long way to go, isn't it? Long way to fend off the field as there goes Jason Lee. Still retains the defensive line. Meanwhile, Henry Morse makes a lunge on Chris Flams. And in fact, Morse showing he's here to party as he is going to put himself into the top 5. That is enough to secure a championship if he can stay there.
Yeah, but he gets real late on the braking, loses it up, and opens up the door for the 2 cars he just passed on the start-finish straight into the paddock bend. But he's holding on to it.
Oh, well, that's going to help him out big time there as they're going to all come together. Oh, dear.
Alex King bumping into both Chris Bright and Chris Flams, which I think unsettled both of them. And then that caused that collision as the door closed on Chris Bright.
Oh, that's barely going to work as King now pulls across, chops the nose of John Combs. And are we going to be 3 wide in the Hawthorne? We sure are. Look at Kling sending it. And King taking a very wise decision there to back out for the middle. He could tell that was not going to end well at all.
Yeah, I think Alex King really trying to figure out where to get the time here. And Tyler Carlton up with these 2x2. Outside line throughout all these corners seems to really not pay off for most of these drivers that get stuck with it. As you can see how much time Alex King is lost compared to Alex Plank and John Coombs, who are now in front of him.
So the field going to continue to battle it out here as we fight our way up over the rise. There goes Alexander Clank again, making that big send to the inside of John Combs, putting himself back up into the 5th place spot. Now that Henry Morris has got more than enough of a gap up the road. By the way, code 69 is open. Combs goes around, and nothing else will come out of that single car spin. Coming out through turn 1. Oh, but they're about to come together again. 3 wide as Ryan Verhulst gets shoved in deep.
I don't think Ryan Verhulst wanted to be there and ended up taking the time there, getting on the power, trying to keep the car from spinning at the end of Druids.
So Romano,
forcing it wide.
Romano, Beckman, and Moore all under a blanket up front. Jason Lee continuing to be hounded by Henry Lieberman. I am just amazed at the caliber of fighting that these guys have been able to put on this afternoon. And I mean, there has not been a single dull moment so far throughout the sprint or the main. And well, it's not going to be much. It's not going to be much more settled from there. By the way, official word: 12th or better would clinch it for Bueller. However, if it is worse, Bueller still has to win with some bonuses because Morse has got the drop week to fall back on.
Understood. So Alex Bueller needs to win, and I believe Morse needs to do worse than 12th?
Yes, worse than 12th, and that would be with Bueller winning and getting some bonus points. So effectively, Morse just has to bring it home.
I think Henry Morris is currently in the process of doing that with where he's sitting 4th right now, and with plenty of room left, I think he's just going to be fuel saving from here on out to try to see how much he can make that last stint easier.
Well, the field going to continue to scrap it out here further down the field. Oh, Brooks Clayton has had a small spin to the back. Looks like that was one that will not be of too much consequence.
Yeah, got into the side of Greg Beckman and got the car going again. Nothing bad there for Brooks Clayton.
Not a bad run at all that these guys have been having with each other here. I mean, this has been a good fight so far. Oh, no! Oh, no! Big trouble just as I say that. We got another one upside down as Greg Beckman is stuck on top of, who is that? He's stuck. It's one of the legendary cars. It's Ryan Verhulst. Ryan Verhulst that Beckman gets stranded on. And, right on cue, welcome in viewers of the Premier Sim Racing Sim Gaming Expo Truck Series. Boy,
perfect timing as we watch these cars all get compiled.
What a time to come in on, right? If you're just missing out, this is what has just happened moments ago. This was at the very start of the race. Well, it doesn't look like we'll be able to quite get it there. Was trying to get the moment that we had at the very start where Justin Hall went up and over in turn number 1. Instead, we will be able to get you this replay that happened just seconds ago as well. Romano got a bit of a tip there. Got caught up with the 37 car. Verhulst got collected, and Beckman just nowhere to go. Gets flipped upside down in one car. I believe that to be the O2. Just went straight into the roof.
Yeah, the O2 getting straight into the roof there. All those cars, I think, started off by a little tap between Scott Fleming and Giovanni Romano, and that just kind of snowballed from there, because that Surtees is not the best spot for anything beyond kind of the single car going. Chris Flam's getting real loose there in front of Giovanni Romano.
Justin Hall starting to fade through the field as well, as he is at risk of dropping even further down the grid. Still no sign of that first code 69 on the day. And last week we had 2 of them, both, I believe, in the back half of the race. Now, Henry Morris looking for the race lead. Sends it to the inside of Jason Lee, and he's able to pick one off that time by in the Westfield Bend.
That he is. He pushed Jason Lee by the first time and then went by on the second of the 3 right-handers that make up the second half of the circuit for Brands Hatch. Henry Lieberman getting around Jason Lee as well, as Jason Lee has a terrible exit. Darren Bai joining him. He is dropping down to the back of this 4-car pack for the lead. Bai, a little wide.
So still, Lee maintains the run. Now Henry Morris, fastest lap of the race, and he's in clean air, so I would expect him to reset that again here before too long. We'll check back into the fight here for 9th. Alexander Bueller heads this one up with the likes of Bright, Romano, Williams, Coffin, and Moore, and these are all guys that have just come down to pit road seconds ago. And then back here as well, Scott Fleming, Corey Barrett, and more. They're all having to go at it. Look at Kyle Blevins with the big lunge on the inside down at Druids.
Evan Campbell trying to follow him through. Seems to be a good spot if you have the run or at least have the speed to put the nose in early on. You can kind of stick it and make it work. It is a vortex of danger, though, as we often reference, and that door is closing. Corey Barrett not willing to take it lying down, wants to return the favor on Kyle Blevins. Kyle Blevins running wide into the grass. I think that pass has been returned.
And all the while up front, this battle for 9th still remains with Romano and Bueller having a bit of a slugfest here as they're going to work their way up and over Sheens. Henry Morris continuing to lead the way. Henry Lieberman as well, trying to get the nose up and in there. Lieberman seeing if he's got an answer for Morse, as it's the duel of the Henrys to lead the way. Are we going to go 3 wide here to Paddock Hill Bend? We're going to go 3 wide to Paddock Hill Bend. Oh my goodness, this is suicidal. It's not going to, I mean, they're going to get it doubled out though, thank goodness.
Yeah, they are going to double it out. That's Clink going from the outside to the inside around Darren Bai, trying to get his way back up into the top 5 in that battle for the lead that he was having at the end of the heat race. And like you said, if Lieberman has an answer, Lieberman currently holds the fastest lap of the race by 4/10. So he definitely has pace there on Henry Morris at the moment.
Oh, look at Darren Bai. Look out off the road. He's able to get that car back onto terra firma. Now, Clank round the outside of Jason Lee. As Lee going to be able to put the nose ahead. Meanwhile, Chris Flams. Oh, Flams is off the road big time. Going to get back on. Causes a couple of cars like Blevins and Campbell to go evasive.
Yeah, he gets a little bit of a tap there from Eric Lonenberg, which is how he got into a full spin after spinning a little bit from a tap from Ben Williams going into Surtees.
The code 69 remains an elusive sight in this race, even though we are now well into the window for one to come about. Bueller trying to get a run on Giovanni Romano, just not able to secure an entry. He's going to make the crossover back to the inside, going for 9th place here in Paddock Hill Bend. And this time he's got him, but Romano now with a crossover into Druids.
Yeah, going to the Druids, has the inside line, is just going to hold it there. Bueller having to work the wheel to keep the car going the right direction. These two have been kind of duking it out over the past lap or so. And Alex Coffer just in the background, kind of waiting for it to kind of play out so that way he can pick up whatever remains.
Oh, a big collision coming up over the hill here. Multiple cars have gone around. That is Aaron Thacker that finds himself off the road along with others. So there's been some kind of a major incident back here with John Combs and co.
Yeah, John Combs getting spun with Corey.
Oh, wow, this had already started well up the road. It just kind of escalated as Thacker arrived on scene, but it started with the 32.
Yeah, started with the 32 and the 7, as well as the 248 of Kyle Blevins.
Boy.
Yeah.
It's kind of progressed from there. One after another comes sliding in. Just not a lot of places to go at a track this tight.
I love that we still have so many pockets of fighting. Like we see with Giovanni Romano and Alex Buehler here as they've swapped once again, or about to swap once again. Looks like Giovanni Romano having a great run here down the start-finish stretch into Paddock Bend. Alex Buehler lifts to allow that to happen. So many great pockets of racing here. I think we'll have, like we said, pretty much action-packed start to finish in heat. I imagine that'll be the same once we get through this. And if we have a code 69, I think that'll just bunch everything back up, and it'll be a either very cautious or very incident-filled restart.
Oh, hello. Corey Barrett has gone off the road. This is also down at turn 1, so yet again, more issues befalling the field. Chris Bright appears to be dropping out as well.
I think he has had a network issue for Chris Bright.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, Chris Bright has had a network issue, it looks like. Both Carson Catlin and Fred Barrett have both self-spun.
On board with Henry Lieberman as he chases Henry Morse. Hasn't been a lot of moves in position here from Lieberman. He has just been trying to maintain a steady run with Henry Morse just in front of him.
Gabriel Gonzalez letting both of them by.
Yeah, sure enough, he's not going for the lead. He's in fuel save mode as he tries to push Morse down the front straightaway, looking to keep building that gap back to third place on down.
Yeah, I think Henry Lieberman just wants that gap there to make that fuel stop a little bit easier and have a little bit less margin, a little more of a margin to play with between the cars behind them, as well as Henry Morse in front of him.
Scott Fleming, Matt Verstappen going side by side back here for 14th through turn 1. Up to 2. Fleming's going to be able to cover. Oh, he's not! Verstappen gets the nose in, says, hey, I ain't lifting, and shoves him out of the way.
Yeah, I think Scott Fleming had believed he had backed out of it, and then Matt Verstappen kept the nose in. And
what a ride these guys have been having this afternoon. I mean, what a track for a season finale, right? Hard to think of many venues that would be better than this. These guys are proving exactly my point as Romano goes around the outside of Buehler, coming around through Sheens that time by on the approach to Sterling's. As well as that, Bevel was trying to do the same. Scott Fleming, though, able to fend him off. Just non-stop aggression that these guys are showing, making sure that everyone gets their chance to shine here in these closing race of the championship.
absolutely. Like you said, Brands Hatch, I think, is like everything this car needs to really shine for what it does well. Watch everything. It was Scott Fleming. Excuse me, that was Tyler Agostino who had went really wide in Paddock Bend. Just a mix of the draft as well as the kind of fun throw it into corner nature that this car seems to really at least show here, and how much you can utilize slip angle counter steering and keeping your foot in to get the car to do the thing that you want it to do.
A bit back in the field, still got all of these midfield fights that have yet to be decided. I mean, we put so much focus up on those battles up front, right? But I mean, these guys are racing just as hard for all of these spots further down the field. I mean, don't ever sleep on these guys. I mean, these guys are just insane, the type of moves that they can put up with each other.
And the moves we've seen so far have been borderline insane, and that's the ones we can document, not let alone the ones we have yet to see. Oh, Justin Hall finds his way into a barrier.
And spins that thing around. Unfortunate for Hall. He is able to get it back up onto the racetrack without much of an incident, but it is going to be a pretty big dent. As a result, this is the spin for Hall.
Just a self-spin here. You see him make a hard impact on the wall there, right behind that tree.
Oh, hello, and now Ryan Verhulst is into the fence, and looking like the 33 of Gabriel Gonzalez has gone in there big time as well.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there.
3 wide, Gonzalez on the inside, and just not a lot he can do. Got a bit loose.
He gets it loose too. Yeah.
Oh, again, nearly goes over.
Tire barrier wanting to flip cars, and cars just not wanting to be flipped.
You see Gonzalez spin around, tail of the shot, as he is just having a day of it here this afternoon. Just cannot get that car pointed in the right direction. Tyler Vietnam, meanwhile, with John Combs right behind him, trying to go on the offensive here. This is the battle all the way back for 23rd on the racetrack. That's still got a pretty hefty train fighting down, as well as that Vask attack at Scott Fleming.
Yeah. Eddie Vask getting passed by Scott Fleming here. Scott Fleming just picking the right line and then just say, hey, I'm here. I'm going to keep driving my line, and I'm going to use all the road. We'll get through it. And somehow they did.
Up front, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And a bit of a loose battle trio here. I think most of these guys have been kind of running with together more than against each other, trying to see if they can maybe rally back and catch Giovanni Romano, who is, Jason Lee. No, Tyler Carlton, there we go. Who's just up the road in that number 45 entry. A tall order, but it is doable, as we've seen in the past year.
I think it is very doable. I think their goal probably is a little bit further up the road with maybe Alex King, Alex Plank, or Henry Lieberman and Henry Morse. But I think they've stopped trying to fight each other for the position, instead of decided to work together to make that happen. But Alexander Bueller getting really close to Giovanni Romano going into the second sector, or second half of the lap.
As well as that back here, Tyler Vietnam again finds himself under pressure by Aaron Thacker, as Thacker wants to go as well. Going to make the move on that number 43 car. That was coming around through Surtees. And now you see Ryan Murphy attacking the inside down to the Hawthorne bend. That inside line has not been very effective in Hawthorne at all, and more often than not, we've seen drivers being forced to lift out.
Yeah, I think that's just because of the way that corner develops, and especially if they aren't fully alongside into Hawthorne. While they may have the speed, the car in front of them is just going to close that door. And if you're there where it gets closed, both of you are likely going off the road, as that is not a corner that has a whole lot of room for error from the driver who is taking the racing line and not that shallow line trying to get the inside run through the second and third kind of series of right-hand corners.
No looks made down to the turn one. We are nearing the halfway point in Darren's Lament, the final race of the season. Carlton has got Romano, going to go on offense here. Right on board with Alexander Bueller. Right behind us, he's got a front row seat. He's going to let Carlton in line. Carlton and Romano both slip wide, though, out of the exit of Hawthorne.
End of this lap, code 69 coming to us.
So big news coming forth for the field here. A big Code 69 coming at the halfway point. Expect to see the entire field in a pit road this time by.
Yeah, it's right at you see the leaders come in. Henry Morris, Henry Lieberman, all diving in. Alex Clank braking hard, but he's missed the pit entry.
No surprises there as Ali. Oh boy, and Morris has overshot his pit stall. That could be a costly mistake.
That it certainly could be.
So who will take the win out of pit road? Alexander Clank stayed out. Clank did not come down to pit road. He stayed out.
So he stayed out because he missed the pit entry.
Oh boy, that's gonna kill his race 100%.
Absolutely, he just whiffed the pit entry. You see, like, he had locked up the brakes and everything, trying to make that happen, and then he has unfortunately taken the road.
Covered with a black flag.
I wonder if he was speeding on pit road.
Possibly, it would have had to have happened on the exit.
I don't think he would have.
Boy.
So it wasn't when he. Yeah.
Well, the field attempted to have a good run of it here. And we'll see. This is Alexander Clank. Yeah, that'll do it. Couldn't quite get around pit road there. And we'll pull this forward here. This is on board with Alex Cofford, so he gets in just fine.
Yeah.
Oh, speeding on the exit. Absolutely speeding on the exit. Trying to beat other competitors out around him, and it just did not go to plan.
Well, I think it went to plan because he beat the route, but I think he really lost sight of the important number that you have to not be over before you hit those lovely blue cones and say that you're free of the pit speed.
He was not the only one, by the way. Carson Catlin also given a black flag.
Oh, man.
Well, the field is once again slowed down for what could be the final time tonight. We'll take one more step back and be back with more racing action in just a moment. Welcome back to Green Flag TV, where the field continues to pace under the first and what could be the only Code 69 of this season finale. Henry Lieberman leads the way, Henry Morrison second. For those that need a refresher, the championship situation looks like this. Henry Morris must finish 12th or higher, and he clinches the championship. If he fails to finish 12th or higher, then Bueller must still win the race and get some bonus points in order to outrun Morris's drop week. I don't think he has achieved those bonuses so far. This is looking real good for Morris right now.
Yeah, it's looking ideal for Morris being in second, having the room there to just kind of coast. It doesn't have to win it, just has to be somewhere in this top 12, and he's got the championship made. I think the safety, I think, is going to be the name of the game now that he's gotten through the halfway point. We see Gabriel Gonzalez passing the field there to get his lap back and be back on the lead lap with the rest of the field. But yeah, I think safety is the name of the game. But I think not far behind him is Alexander Buehler, who's trying to look for that top spot. And with the hopes that between that and the bonuses that he still has to do, which he's running out of time for those as well, if I'm correct. We are with being over halfway. Buehler has a lot of work cut out for him in order to make it happen, but it's possible.
No word yet for the field to double up. Looking like we might go for one more lap here this afternoon. By the way, Alex Cofford did something sneaky. We didn't get full confirmation this last week. I meant to ask. I never did, though. But remember, Alex Cofford was given the black flag. He has served that black flag under the code 69. It's cheeky. I don't think it's against the rules, though. We'll see if that'll change during the offseason. But the field is getting set to double up. That code 69 is ending.
That it is a cheeky, I think cheeky for both him and Carson Catlin, who also came in to serve his black flag for speeding in the pit lane, same as Alex Cofford. And I'm excited to see where these cars find their way around Baddock Bend here in just a moment. This car goes back to green flag.
Green flag is back up in the air. Henry Lieberman going to launch early, trying to make sure he can keep that field behind him. The pack fires off towards turn number 1 for the first time of the restart. 26 minutes to go, and about 11 more minutes before that caution window officially closes. Look at Henry Morse quickly attacking to the inside again through Panago Bend and up towards Druids.
A great lunge from Henry Morse to get this restart started correctly, but trouble in Druids.
Justin Hall caught up with Melhot, it looks like. Now Ryan Murphy going to get spun just up the road as well. He's going to go for a slide into the grass, but other than those two spins, it looks good.
Yeah, a couple other contacts, but otherwise it is moving back the correct direction still. And Morse looking to run as far away as he can from Alex Buehler, who is trying to also climb his way up the podium, having to go around the outside in Hawthorne, but not lifting for Alex King at all.
And well, with us only having 25 minutes to go, that second safety car window does not have a lot of time to come out. It would be a very quick one as well. The pit strategy is effectively complete tonight. We were told early on, easy one stop for this field this afternoon. So we are not going to be seeing anybody in for the to the pits anymore this race for scheduled service.
Yeah, no more pit stops. It's an easy one-stopper. So everyone's done. And it's now just a sprint to the finish. And I think it makes it really easy for the fuel game to not have to worry about it too much with that Code 69 splitting the race down into two easy to digest sections.
Lieberman still trying to shove Morse clear. The top three building a pretty sizable gap already on just third place back here. They've got almost a second on Jason Lee as Lee tries to fight back. Alex King trying to lunge around the outside as well, and Alex King has been going around.
He got
hello.
into the Wolf. Evan Campbell also getting caught up in that. Alex King trying to get around.
Oh, it just keeps going. Oh, and another big hit.
Gosh.
Boy, one after another.
Pretty much the same corner as well as last lap.
Meanwhile, there goes Henry Lieberman, going to look to take away the lead of the race from Henry Morse. He's going to have to go around the long way of Hawthorne Bend if he wants to get the job done, and he's going to do just that. Morse can't fight him. Not yet, at least.
No, he cannot, especially with getting loose like that.
This is what happened to King and Co. Ran into the back of Jason Lee, spun himself around, and, he gets hit by Darren Bai. Then Ron Wolf goes spinning. Then Campbell comes flying in. And it still is not over because there goes Verstappen firing in. And then right when you think it's over, Adam Joseph Mahon spins himself out coming out of Druids and gets hit by Justin Hall.
And they were just a lap ago also coming into contact with each other. Henry Morris now at the back of this trio as Giovanni Romano looking into the outside.
Go around the long way of that corner's brave.
Yeah, but has the speed, it looks like, to get it done. So, say if you have the pace, but Lieberman's not going to give up easy. Continues to hold the inside line.
Vienna off in turn 1. Potentially Andy Vasek off as well in that same corner. Romano looking for the inside of the Surtees. Opts against it. Quick look on what happened here. Coming down to the turn number 1. Oh, Clayton got loose. Spins the 43. And he's going to keep that car from going over in the sand trap by just pushing it in backwards.
Keeps it from flipping, but not the way you want to do it. These two go too wide through Hawthorne again. Lieberman having the move that he pulled on Morris a lap ago, pulled on him by Giovanni Romano.
And Giovanni Romano this time around leading the way for the first time this afternoon for the Brands Hatch circuit as he tries to fend off the likes of Lieberman and Morris just a little ways behind him. One car around, that is Alex Coffer.
Alex Coffer having a bit of a rough race there. Looked like a self-spin. Coming through Hawthorne.
So we'll keep tabs on the front 3. Romano, Morse. Oh no! Oh, big crash! The top 2 off the road! And I think a bump gone wrong. Morse into the lead. Lieberman gonna drop back. Oh my goodness. And now Jason Lee is gonna go spinning around and he's gonna find the wall. Maybe, no, he'll keep it out of it. But big dramas there.
Absolutely. I think it wasn't intentionally a bump. I think it's a bit of a chain reaction happening from Morris as both of them go to turn on the inside, and the bump starts there with Morris bumping into Lieberman, which bumps into Giovanni Romano. And all the two that are, because of the way the direction of all those, they end up going flying off into the barrier.
I'm not going to lie. I thought that was going to be a lot bigger than it ended up being. About as well as that situation could have gone, but I mean, hey, you know the rule of on super speedways, right into the stock car scene, don't push the pusher. Same concept applies to road racing.
Certainly it does. I don't think that was intentional. I think it is just an unfortunate byproduct of both of them looking to make the move onto the inside line of turn number 1 at the same time.
Tell you what. Go ahead, sorry.
I would say Gabriel Gonzalez in for a black flag for an incident limit.
And no surprises on that one as Alexander Klenk secures Scott Fleming. He had gotten that black flag a good while ago, and it just now coming in to serve. John Combs with the fastest lap of the race that last time by. How about that? 139.7. Wow. Look at all the gravel being dragged onto this poor racetrack. Holy crap, that's gonna be a mess for the ground crews to clean up. And there, in fact, here you see Gonzalez off the road again to the background.
I think Gonzalez does not have this machine under him at all for this race, which hopefully, I think when the new season rolling around, he'll have a little more time to get familiar with it by the time that the season-ending race has come back around for him.
Well, the fight for the podium might be out for now, but that fight for third is still hot and heavy as Alexander Bueller going to drive around Eric Ronenberg. Henry Lieberman and Ben Williams are also still in the fray. They are side by side for fifth as Lieberman pushed out to the left-hand side. Williams able to keep it underneath him.
Williams having a good run here. it back around Henry Lieberman. Henry Lieberman obviously trying to recover the race after that unfortunate domino effect on the start-finish straight, but ends up forcing them both too wide, which slows both of them down. A fair margin here. Derek Ronenberg and Alexander Bueller just kind of run away up the road.
Jeez Louise, I mean, this is just a party back here, isn't it? I mean, no one is willing to give each other an inch of room right now. 3 minutes until that caution window closes, so we are going to get one more Code 69 to shake up the field. It's got to come within the next lap and a half or so. Oh, look at the over-under on Lieberman takes on Williams. Oh, Williams around! And he's going to take out a couple cars, the 69 hard into the wall, as is Aaron Thacker. Well, that was almost an impressive over-under until Williams got a little bit unsettled on the exit curve and, well, flew too close to the sun.
Yeah, unfortunate there for them. It kind of looks like it was... Oh, no. Tyler Augustino running into Aaron Thacker after Aaron Thacker had bumped into... Tyler Carlton.
That was John Combs.
Yes, he narrowly avoided that.
Talk about sneaking through by the skin of your teeth.
John Combs, I'm guessing, did not expect to be in 6th with how his race went earlier on before the restart.
Oh, Ben Williams off the road again. Got a bit muscled out by Scott Fleming, and now there again, double file. As he worked through Sterling's. Ron Wolf now in the fray. Corey Barrett trying to get a lunge in there as well. Nearly contact again. And boy, Wolf is just being bullied here right now.
Yeah, Wolf has unfortunately been having a bit of a rough restart, and I think just trying to keep the car going the right direction from earlier incidents. Oh, runs it real deep into the corner, keeps it going the right direction, but loses all the time that he had gained trying to get past or up to Scott Fleming.
Of course, you got Ronenberg and Bueller in the fray as well. Barrett and Blevins are still back there. There you got the top two, Henry Morse, and finally Giovanni Romano has caught him, and Romano wasting no time in going for the lead on the approach to Hawthorne Bend.
Yeah, both of them, neither really willing to give it up. Henry Morse finally seating as Giovanni Romano has a bit of a better run there.
Well, let's be honest with ourselves here. Do you really think he's going to be happy to sit back there for a second for long? Of course he's not. He's going back at him here, coming on up into towards Sterling's, out of Sheen's, round the outside, and how about that? Henry Morse through on the approach to Clearways.
And with the 69 window now closed, Henry Morse getting back through. But for how long before Giovanni Romano comes blistering back by? Looks like Romano might have the better exit.
He's going to have to make a pretty big lunge if he wants to get the drive into turn one. He's not going to go for it. Henry Morse retains that top spot for now. We'll check in on that if it gets much closer. Still a lot of battles deeper in the field.
Yeah, plenty pockets of cars vying for positions. Ron Wolf, Scott Fleming, as well as Evan Campbell, Darren By, like we're looking, or sorry, Aaron Thacker and Evan Campbell that we're looking at here.
A few clips of the sand trap. No harm, no foul. As Darren By
Too wide.
Yeah, try to go around Tyler Augustino here. Exit of turn two. Augustino maintains that spot around the long way. Again, no easy feat, but one you can really pull off here.
Yeah, it's definitely one, I think, with both the way these cars are, as well as the way that the power can be kind of extracted from it. It's one that it feels really rewarding when it happens, but it's also one that you see happen to you as much as it happens for you.
So Thacker and Barrett will again swap hands for 17th. As everyone else working their way up and around. Alexander Bueller, in fact, has caught Eric Ronenberg. Not going to be seen to move for position, though. I hope he's not going to try to push him out there, because it's just not going to happen for him. Here we go. Once again, Giovanni Romano to the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. Trying to get that drive in there.
Yeah, trying to make it happen, and is sticking with it. Henry Morse, however, has a great run after the first corner and is going to take a look on the inside. Giovanni Romano giving him the space to make that corner happen, but not going to give him the room on the exit, because he's not just going to let the pass happen. And he's forcing the issue there. Having to take the shallow line gives him a slower run. Henry Morse having the over-under as a result. Getting a great run into Surtees here. Giovanni Romano.
Oh, there he goes.
Neck code. Spun around.
And that will seal any doubt that Henry Morse is on his way to an easy championship in this finale as it falls apart for Giovanni Romano.
I feel like Henry Morse is wanting to think.
Oh, in fact, Morse giving up the lead here to Eric Ronenberg. He may be trying to redress what he thinks might have been an incident that was his fault.
I think so. I think that's the plan here, based on what I saw there, because he just kind of lifts on the start-finish straight there. He wants to let Giovanni Romano back by.
I don't even know if it was his fault, though. I'm going to be honest. It looked like it was just a racing deal.
I'd have to go, like, looking back through it, I think you could make a case either way. Giovanni Romano definitely turns as close as he can to Henry Morse without allowing any room for error there from him, and the natural racing line is going to take him out kind of into the path of Giovanni Romano. So I think, like you say, very racing incident feeling.
This was a multi-car incident coming up over the hill. There you see Darren By going around. Aaron Thacker having spun just up the road. Well, this is shaking up the battle for the lead now. I still think that was racing, but hey, props to Morse for at least being proactive with the sportsmanship. Well, you just got to hope that it cost him a title, as Ronenberg now pulling away with that race lead.
But Henry Lieberman, Alex Bueller trying to make that happen.
So Lieberman and Bueller going to continue to go at it, as Lieberman struggling to hang on to that second place spot, but with some help from Bueller, going to run down Eric Ronenberg at the head of the field. 10 minutes to go, about 7 laps on the boards.
7 laps, plenty of time for chaos to happen, but unless it does, a pretty solid championship victory for Henry Morse. You know, he's in that top 12, that zone that we talked about, and Alexander Bueller still is in third, so he has 7 laps to find his way to top the podium. He's got a great run here, though, with Henry Lieberman and Eric Ronenberg both being around 4/10 to him.
Lieberman trying to take a bit of an arcing over-under line. Oh, hello, 1 car off the road. That is Justin Hall deep in the field, and he has just been black flagged as a result. Oh, dear. So Hall going up and around, and, well, we'll take a look back. He has a black flag for instant points as a result, and, oh, he did that to himself. Just clipped the grass on the way in.
Yeah, put the grass in the braking zone. Those tires are going to want to lock up. And then from there, it was just he became a passenger.
Oh, boy, hello. Well, Bueller tried to attack Lieberman for a second. Didn't work.
No. He unfortunately has that gap rapidly increasing between the two of those.
Meanwhile, Romano and Combs.
John Combs keeping it together. That wheel is getting its full work to keep the car going the right direction for John Combs.
Oh, Combs hops over the left rear of Morse. Spears off the racetrack, somehow keeps that car going straight. Good save from John Combs as he hops over the rear end of him.
Fantastic bit of work there for John Combs, like we just talked about. Still great handiwork. Watch here, right on board, how much he just works that steering wheel to keep that car from spinning out or going too deep into the gravel. And gets it back on the racing line. Blake Gambrell also black flagged.
Blake Gambrell way back in the field, down in 32nd place. You see him right now. He, in fact, just getting set to serve that black flag now. Now the rest of the field continues to scrap it out for top spots. If you're just tuning in, this is, of course, the final race of this season for the Beer League, but they will be back with Season 12 in 2 weeks' time with a brand new car and a whole new look. It's going to be a wild ride to see what's going to be up in store for this league coming up next. Meanwhile, Ronenberg leads the way.
Yeah, Ronenberg leads the way from Lieberman, and I want to see where they take these group of drivers in the cars, and what options they have for cars. There's still so many that kind of fit the same profile for what they like to drive here that I think they would have a great time with. Henry Lieberman trying to go around the outside of Eric Ronenberg. Eric Ronenberg holding on to it. Alexander Bueller trying to sneak up the middle.
A sneak attack up the middle for Alexander Bueller. No contact that time around, up over the hill. So good through Dingledale, Sheens through Sterling's, up the clearway straight, headed towards Clark Curve. And boy, oh boy, again, you can feel that anticipation building at the tail end of this one.
You certainly can. You kind of see it a little bit in how these car drivers are using their machines. A bit of a snap for Lieberman, costing him a little bit of time. Alexander Bueller going on the inside. And all this fighting for the top three has dragged Giovanni Romano and Henry Morris back into the fight for the lead.
One car off the road into the gravel trap. We'll take a look at that in a moment. I believe that is just Gonzalez going off the road again. Look at Romano trying to send her firewall deep there into Druids. Couldn't get the lunge in that time by as you fly overhead of the field. Working their way back around into turn number 4. This time by Lieberman again around the outside. Henry Morris is right back into the fight, trying to go for a podium or a race win. He's going to lunge now to the inside of Alexander Bueller.
Henry Morris looking to reclaim his top spot of the podium, as he had prior to trying to do the honorable thing. I think he's successfully doing the honorable thing, and now he has all the time in the world and all the room and the run for first year in Hawthorns.
How much you wanted to bet that Eric Ronenberg kind of backed off a little bit there to let his teammate get up into the top spot there?
I got a feeling that might be a part of what happened there for that. Henry Lieberman getting loose as this is all going down.
5 minutes. Time quickly running out. I think it is all but over for Bueller. I don't think he has scored enough bonus points, even if he took the win, and even if Morse somehow dropped back to 13 seconds to drop out of the top 12. I don't think it's happening. I think Morse has got this one locked up for the title.
I get the feeling as well, but there's still 5 minutes. Anything can happen.
Feeling all we're really battling right now is, well, the look. Oh, hello. It's Flams and King getting a little bit stepped out there. We're just fighting at this point to see who's going to be finishing on the top spot of the podium at the end of this one. Yeah. Sorry, that's Alex Copper. It's just kind of sitting back there, just watching the festivities play out in the closing laps.
That is Alex Copper, who has decided to give himself a front row seat.
Oh, hello. Look how Ronenberg off the road. He's got taken out by Alexander Bueller. And, well, that'll spend. Then Ronenberg's fine, and he's going to collect Alex King as he overcorrected, trying to get back onto the racetrack.
Yeah. A bit of a rough day for Alex King there. Always frustrating to get caught up in things when you're just trying to get back up to where you were earlier in a stint.
Morse He's still a heavy hitter up front, and Lieberman still cannot get up and around him for the number 2 spot. Bueller struggling to get through there as well. Further behind, Williams, Wolf, Fleming. All of them exchanging blows in the battle for 11th. First spot outside of the top 10 of the final race. A wicked fast race car leading the way, and an equally quick car trying to run him down. 3 minutes, about 2 laps to go. Lieberman, fastest lap of the race that time by. Lap traffic is just up the road.
And he was on a great run from turn number 1, but car got loose and he had to catch it. And Gonzalez giving everyone a jump scare as that car spins around on its own. I think a very rough night for Gabriel Gonzalez, unfortunately. That has caused this pack to recompress. Lieberman trying to find his way around. Henry Morris for the lead.
A plus side for Henry Morris on that one. He didn't have to worry about Gonzalez causing problems here down the straight.
That's very true.
Oh, look at Lieberman. He's giving him that push. He's letting him know, hey, I'm here. I could have made that move if I wanted to. He is waiting for the last lap so he doesn't find himself vulnerable to the similar position.
I think so. I think he's just, like you said, he's just waiting. And I think that's the play, If you're wanting that win at the end, and how these cars, even with this being one of the tracks where I think it affects them probably the least with how many corners you have and how much time you're spending kind of off throttle for the machines by comparison to some other racetracks, it is still one that you want to be quick at, and you want to find yourself at the front of the draft pack on the last lap so they can't use that draft pack later on to pass you back.
Tell you what, Lieberman has dropped off quickly, though, and he has now fallen back 3/4 of a second from Henry Morris as we're going to start the final trip around. Final lap of season 11 of the Beer League. Morris effectively has the title locked up. He's just trying to bring it home. Lieberman trying to chase him down.
Lieberman trying to chase him down. Alexander Bueller looking up the inside. Oh, gets real loose there.
Sent him wide into turn number 2. That is going to mean now it's a 1 second gap that Lieberman, I think Lieberman let his hubris get to him. He should have gone for the move the last lap because now he's under fire and he's just not able to catch Morse.
Yeah, he's not. And the car he's battling, Alexander Bueller, keeps having issues with getting the power down. So it ends up costing both of them time as Lieberman's pushed wide and Bueller is not able to get past him to allow this to get any faster.
Coming around through Hawthorne Bend for the final time. Morse continues to grow. His gap now up to 1.3. Bueller, kicks the tail end out. Romano tries to think about making it 3 wide. Not able to get down the inside. Coming on up through Sheens towards Sterling's. Still side by side between the two. And that 67 entry going to be in a big battle for that number 2 spot. Meanwhile, up front, Henry Morse working through Clark Kerr for the final time. It's been a long time coming, but Henry Morse, the champion of season number 11. 3 wide to the line for second behind.
Giovanni Romano beating Henry Lieberman out by 1/100th. Alexander Bueller coming home 4th of those 3 cars.
And there is your new defending champion in season number 11. What a ride for Henry Morse to get this job done for the legendary crew. Came on board to the Beer League last season and now can proudly call himself a well-deserved champion.
It's always a great feeling when weeks and weeks of your hard works have paid off, like it has for Henry Morse. And then now he has to do the even harder job of defending that title, of saying, hey, I am still the best, even in a different car.
See everybody kind of congregating over here as they are going to gather for their. This is tradition. This is their traditional class photo that they tend to have at the end of every season. So I mean, nothing untoward going on here.
Nothing.
Beer league doing beer league things, you know.
Gotcha. Yes, I mean, there is plenty of beer league things to happen.
It's tradition, right? End of every season, gotta take a photo for the record books. Let them all know, hey, I was here. It's always good to be able to get a moment like this, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Everyone gets to kind of be as is. We'll rotate one of our own static cameras around. Get a proper angle of this class photo. Why not, shall we? Look at that. There we go. Gang's all here.
Perfect. I think it's always fun. It really kind of is one of my favorite things about leagues in general, is the ability to have kind of this very much community style thing.
Oh boy, what in the world is going on here? It's a madhouse, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is a madhouse.
Are you going to be the one to dissect what's going on here? I'm not touching that. Whatever's going on in there is. This feels like whatever happens in Brands Hatch stays in Brands Hatch moment.
This is absolutely whatever happens at Brands Hatch stays at Brands Hatch.
This is awesome.
This is drivers doing driver things in a league. And just like I said moments ago about everybody being super, the cool community feeling. Sometimes it involves the community just going insane in a dog pile, a literal dog pile of Legends 34 coupes, just pushing against each other in a mad burnout, car explosive mess.
I think I told you at Bathurst, right? They used to have a tradition where they would all get together for that infamous Bathurst jump at the end of the Conrad Straight. Big shame they can't do that now. But hey, I mean, this is a good, suitable replacement.
I think it's a suitable replacement, at least for this season.
Well, while all that's going on down there, we'll take a rundown of your official post-race results here for the final time here in season number 11, as it is going to be none other than Henry Morris taking home the race win this afternoon by 2.4 seconds ahead of Giovanni Romano. He clinches the season 11 championship as a result. Henry Lieberman will come home in third in the 3-wide finish with himself and Alexander Buell along with Romano. Flank finishes in 5th, Combs in 6th, Flams in 7th, Carlton, Ronenberg, and Bright close out the top 10.
Ben Williams is going to be in 11th, Alex King in 12th, Ron Wolf, Scott Fleming, Tyler Agostino are back to 15th, Brooks Clayton, Aaron Thacker, Evan Campbell, Corey Barrett, and Carson Catlin round out your top 20.
Moving on back to the field, it's Verhulst, Blevins, Vasic, Bai, Mailhot, Lee, Beckman, Murphy, Hall, and Close to close out the top 30.
And 31st is going to be Tyler Vietnam, 32nd, Blake Gambrell, 33rd, Gabriel Gonzalez, which was the last car that finished and take the check flag. Alexander Crawford, Mac Verstappen, and Chris Zofer all have found themselves hanging out at the front row seats at the end of Paddock Bend there before the end of the race.
So that is it then. The season draws to a close, and we'll get set to take a run down and give a quick chat here with all the drivers that come home number 1, 2, and 3 this afternoon. And, well, what better way to start things off than with the man of the hour? It is Henry Morris coming home to take his first championship of the Beer League. Henry, you are the crown winner of season number 11, and what better way to take that championship than by winning the final race?
Yeah, that was a fun race. This track is awesome, and we had a lot of fuel. The bot gave us a bunch of fuel for this race, so it wasn't very complicated, pretty straightforward pushing. And yeah, I had a good run. There was just a weird incident where Giovanni and I touched, and we both, well, he spun, and I don't want to take the lead like that. And I knew we had time left, and the other cars were battling, so I dropped back to him, and worked our way back up, and that was that.
Talk us through the sprint race as well. Of course, it was critical for you to be able to get top 5s in both of them. You were able to take wins in both the sprint and the main event, but it was almost a second place in that one, as you had to make a pass in the grass for a photo finish by 2 thou for the sprint.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I basically on the second to last lap, I sort of practiced that move, and I didn't fully go past him, but I felt that I had enough momentum coming up to him when we were getting the white that I thought I'd have enough to pass him on the last lap. However, on the last lap, he did a really good job keeping it tight to the right on the exit of the corner. So I had to check up a little bit, and I realized that I just had to commit to the grass. Because if I had two in the grass, I would have either had to lift to keep the car straight or keep it floored and have a pretty good chance of taking at least myself out, if not the both of us. So I just figured I'd hit the grass with at the same time with both front wheels, keep it a little straighter than hitting it just with the right wheels. And yeah, it all worked out.
Well, looking forward to season number 12. It's not too far away, only 2 weeks out. Are we going to be seeing you back to defend that title?
That's the plan. Yeah, I've got quite a few friends who have joined throughout the season, and we'll see if we can maybe make our own team next season. If that's not the case, then we'll still obviously be out there working together, and yeah, we'll see whatever car we run. There's a bunch of different options on the table right now. Everything from the Jetta to the Super Formula Light, and so God knows what we'll run next season. So we'll just have to see. But I'm looking forward to it. This is a great league. Bunch of guys here just to have fun, and there's pretty much no negativity or animosity here, and it's one of the best league experiences I've had for sure.
Well, we wish you the best of luck when we go racing next in 2 weeks. Congratulations on taking home the championship in season number 11 by sweeping the final race. Pole, sprint, and main event. Could not ask for a more dominating drive to close out the season. We'll see you in 2 weeks for season 12.
All right, see you guys.
Henry Morris comes home number 1 this afternoon. This afternoon. We'll bring it on up to Giovanni Romano. The Canadian comes home in second, and he is standing by with Acinni.
Giovanni Romano, a fantastic P2 finish after a great last-minute decision on that final lap there. Were you expecting to end up in second with that move, or were you kind of just hoping somewhere in the top 3 there?
I was kind of expecting fourth. I was kind of they're kind of going too wide, and I didn't really want to force it 3 because the track's pretty narrow, and honestly, we'd already wrecked each other a few times, and I didn't want to make it a complete farce. So I was kind of content riding there, and then I saw they were going too wide in the last corner. I'm like, okay, there's an opportunity here, so I went for the over-under, and it worked out, and got a cool little photo finish out of it. So yeah, that was cool.
Very good. You come home P3 in the championship this season. A fantastic result there, being on the podium. Are you looking forward to getting up to the top step next season in a couple weeks' time?
Yeah. It's always the challenge, I guess. Kind of maybe hoping for a car that I'm a little more comes to me a little easier. Not that I'm bad at this car, but there's some cars that click with me a little easier than others, and usually to compete with the championship, it's got to be something I can really get up to speed with really quick. So I guess we'll see. There's a lot of cars that have been thrown out as potential options. I don't really know what's gonna happen. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Very fair. A fantastic drive today. Were you? Final question I kind of think I have in my head. Were you surprised that Henry Morris came back for you?
No. Everyone here, I think, is pretty respectful. Even that incident, honestly, I looked at it afterwards. It was a pretty, definitely like a racing incident type thing. It definitely wouldn't have put 100% fault on him or anything. So he didn't have to do that. So, but everyone here is, I mean, that's not the first time someone's done that for me, and I've probably done it for people in the past. It's everyone here is, it's all about fair play, and I think we ended up with frankly, the finished race was probably more exciting because that happened. It brought us back into back into the pack. So I think it was all good. It was a good race.
Fantastic stuff. We will see you, I believe, back in a couple weeks' time. Congrats again on your P3 on the championship and your P2 this evening here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, thanks for the broadcast this season. Great. Always look forward to watching it. It's always good.
It was Giovanni Romano joining us here for second place this afternoon. Of course, we are happy to be here as well for all of the action, as we so often are. And, well, it's going to be no different when we go racing 2 weeks from now in season number 12. It's amazing that we started broadcasting these guys in season 5. We're about to enter our 7th full season of broadcasting for these guys. I mean, that's not a number you expect to see. Now, granted, slight asterisk, their seasons are shorter, but hey, we keep coming back, right? So we must be doing something right here. But I tell you what, Fen, we don't know what car we're going to be running in 2 weeks. We'll likely find that out sometime between now and the next week. This is going to be interesting, I think, putting it mildly, to see how this one's going to pan out. I mean, this season with the Legends, I'd argue one of the best we've ever covered, save for the Spec Racer Fords. Whatever we got coming on up, though, it's bound to be just as entertaining.
I would have to imagine that's the best. That's probable. I know we talked loosely about there being a few different options for this season. I would love to see which one of those survive into being the option for this next season, and what kind of racing we get as a result, as the car is maybe, and I say maybe as like a loosely, probably depending on which car we have, a little bit more downforce than we did on the Legend 34s, and how that changes the racing as a whole, and whether or not we see how, I think we'll see a lot of different, those characteristics of those cars really change how the races develop over the course of the hour-long features.
Well, we'll see how things are going to pan on out when we go racing once again for the Beer League in 2 weeks. Before we get to that, the Average Joe's Sim Racing League has the Alan Ray Thomas Memorial at Bristol Motor Speedway coming on up tomorrow night, with the Bolt Racing League Lightning Series out for their 3rd race at the Richmond Raceway. That'll be this coming Friday night. From there, the SRA NASCAR Classic Series takes to the Phoenix Raceway on Saturday night, with Sunday having a doubleheader between the Blaze of Pedals ARCA Series at Sonoma, alongside the last race of the ASRL Xfinity Series presented by Purple Haze Autosports. That will be at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. High Tide is at the Monster Mile in Delaware on Monday night, and then that, of course, will take us straight back around to Wednesday, where we'll be racing once again for the Premier Sim Racing Sim Gaming Expo Truck Series. Once again, a big thank you to the Beer League for having us on board for yet another fantastic season of racing action, and a big thank you to everybody that's been tuning in for these past 9 weeks. It's been quite the wild ride, and there's still more wild rides to come before too long. As always, my name is Nolan Rempel alongside Fen Acinni. Thank you all so much for joining us, and a big congratulations to Henry Morris for his first ever championship in the Beer League. We'll see if he can defend it when we go racing in 2 weeks in the Beer League.